Okay, welcome everyone to today's Lunch and Learn. My name is Karen Shanung. Today I'll be covering Epicor quote pricing during this presentation. You may already know how to create basic quote lines with quantities and pricing. Today I'll add in using different pricing options and review the different areas of the worksheet tab. So during today's presentation, I will show some examples of the different pricing options, the price lists that can be used with quotes, and discount price lists that can be used with quotes. Then I'll create some quotes and lines using different pricing options. So we'll show the quote header and lines, and then I'll move on to the quote worksheet to show the calculations based on using the quantity breaks, using markups and commissions. So here we have an example of a price list that has been set up on a customer. So I created a new price list and set it up to be linked to our test customer 2, and price list name is test 2. And then I added some parts to this price list, which includes part test B part, and we also have test A and test C linked to this particular price list test 2. And on this price list, we gave quantity breaks of 100 and 250 and did the type of a discount as unit price and reduce the unit price as we get to higher quantity breaks. And later in the presentation, we'll show an example of a quote line that uses this price list. The next pricing option that we have here is an example of a discount price list that's set up on a customer. Here we set it up on our test customer 1, and the price list is named test 1. And again, we have parts test A part, B part, and C part linked to this price list. But this time we have the quantity breaks of 10 and 50, and instead of a discount type of unit price, we have a discount type, a discount percent. So here, if the quantity break is 10, we're giving a 3% discount. And if the quantity break is 50, we're giving a 5% discount. And again, later in the presentation, we'll have an example on quote line that shows using the discount price list. So here's an example of quote header for the test customer 1. Basically, to create a quote header, you'll open up the opportunity quotes menu and click the plus sign for a new quote. And you'll enter the customer and any other basic information that's needed to save your header, such as the customer and ship to, the due date, the ship via terms, the ship via and the terms, and the best case, worst case, and confidence, and your due date are most likely the main fields that you'll want to include on your quote header. And then your business may also require you to enter additional values in some of the other fields. Once you're happy with the basic data you need for your quote details card, which is what the header is called in Kinetic, save your quote, and a quote number will be assigned by Epicor. So now we can move on to the lines, and here's an example of a quote line that has the discount pricing. So we can see that we have the test A part. We put in expected quantity of 10, and remember the quantity breaks were 10 and 50, and it gives the discounts of 3% and 5% respectively. So in this case, it would be 3% off the unit price, and you can see that calculates out to the total of $97 here. And you can see that the customer and the part and the quantity all help determine the unit price for the line. Here's an example of a quote line that uses the price list pricing. Again, for adding a line in Kinetic, you will go to the lines card on quote entry and use the plus sign to add in a new line. So here we use example test B part from the test 2 price list, which had, and it shows the price list here, and it had the quantity breaks of 100 and 250, which give the discounted unit price of $14 or $13.50 respectively. So here we can see the discounted price is $14 for the 100 quantity break. Again, we can see that the customer, part, and quantity all help determine the unit price for this line. So now on the worksheet card, we can see the effects of the calculations by moving between the rows with quantity breaks. There's a grid that shows on the worksheet that will show your quantity breaks, and if you move selecting the first row, it'll multiply all your calculations by 1. Otherwise, it would multiply them by 100 if you select the second row, or if you select the third row, it would multiply your calculations by 250. Also on the quote worksheet card, we can see the effects of the markup on the quote line, which is now part of the calculation for each area of the costs: labor burden, material, subcontract, and material burden. This slide basically just shows the setup of a markup. So we have set up the Dalton markup, and we set up a markup of 26% on a lot of these different areas and 20% on miscellaneous. And then we set the commission at 5%. And you can also set up quantity breaks on your markups, but we just set it at the 1 quantity break that shows the Dalton markup ID on your worksheet. The next slide shows the markups applied on the worksheet. So here we're using the quote information from the last Lunch and Learn, which was quote engineering, and we had examples of engineering part operations and materials on the worksheet card. So we can see we had costs for burden, labor, material, subcontract, and material burden, and then that totals down here. We also had the markup based on the Dalton markup code that we entered, and that this quote has the customer of Dalton. Then we have these particular markup percents applied on the quote, and then the prices going across multiply out by taking the 6250 and adding 26% markup gives you the 7875, etc. And then all of these values total the total down here, and the 5317 in the middle here is the value of your markups here. And then we also show the commission was 5% based on our Dalton markup, which calculates out to $12.95, and then that added to the total prices gives you the total price that's listed here of $271.87. So near the bottom of the worksheet card, we can see the commission for the sales rep is shown and is part of all the calculations, and the commission can be overridden to reduce the price or increase the price if needed and is allowed in your business. The very bottom here shows all the calculations for the unit price calculated. So Epicor comes out with the unit price here calculated and the unit price with commission. So you can copy that into the quoted unit price if you'd like, or you can copy the unit price with commission, whichever you like. And if you want to change anything and on the quote worksheet, you can go ahead and modify any of the values that are the lighter white, means they're enabled, that you can change different areas on the worksheet to come out with a new calculated unit price and a new calculated unit price with commissions. So once you put that value in your calculated field, that would be your final results you want for the quote unit price. As always, it's best to try your things out in a test environment so you can test and review the results to see if your quote pricing works as you expect.
Thank you everyone for joining us today. I hope everyone has a great afternoon. Thanks so much.
Want more Coda Bears Lunch and Learn? Check out our channel for more videos or contact us on our website for registration information.